Hello and happy Monday, everybody. Here's what's coming up tonight on News Center Now. Class is in session. Today is all about you, your kids, and their school day.
So it's nice to get in a little extra sleep.
The theory is a later school bell will help kids learn. Now, is there any progress? We'll check in.
It's hard. It's way bigger of a battle than I ever anticipated.
And when an incident is caught on camera, how does that change the disciplinary process?
And Tom Brady's wife Giselle has a heartfelt message for her family and Patriots fans after last night's heartbreaking loss.
This is News Center Now.
Social media in the classrooms, advantages of a later school day, refinancing your student loans. News Center is all about your education today. Hello, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. Back in 2016, a couple of school districts began implementing later start and end times. And then since then, more districts in the state have joined that movement. But are they seeing the results they were expecting?
To me, I feel like it's a great idea, so that when I come to school, I'm more ready and prepared for the hard work and the day to come.
5 months into the new school start time in South Portland, and most people seem to be fans. Teachers are reporting more alertness and interaction from kids first thing in the morning, and at Memorial Middle School, the number of kids who have been tardy this year compared to last year is lower. A big concern from parents before the change was that kids would just stay up later since they can get extra sleep. That apparently has not been a major issue.
In conversations that I actually got to watch in a class, health class, where they were talking about sleep, the students universally in that 6th grade health class were saying no, they were still going to bed at the same time. And most of them were reporting more than 8 hours of sleep, which was surprising because I was worried that we were going to see more kids reporting that they could stay up later.
While rest, attendance, and participation were key factors in the adjusted start time, high school kids have been benefiting in other ways as well.
In communities that have had this in place for a number of years, car accidents involving high school age students have gone down dramatically.
One thing that has come up as troublesome is the burden that has been put on the transportation department, since the elementary, middle, and high schools are all in need of service around the same time. Also, if you have an after-school activity, getting out later puts time management skills to the test.
We don't have time to do our homework and finish it. So it's a bit of a challenge when projects roll around and the end of the year when our grades need to be at the peak. So it's kind of a bit of a challenge.
Now, Superintendent Coonan told me that they will be reviewing and tweaking the later arrival and departure times as needed, just to make sure that all concerns are addressed.
And coming up later on Brain Drops, Keith will unpack the science behind this. And that was just a chance, right? He wasn't really. He didn't know that you were working on that, right?
Scientific odds of Keith and I having a similar like-minded thought in the same day.
Peruses scientific journals constantly, so we just happened upon the same thing on the same day. That's all that happened.
You see what happened was.
All right, hey, temperatures falling right now. It was mild yesterday, right? Raining after the Patriots game and in the 50s in spots. Now dropping quickly, 9 in Rangeley, 13 in Greenville. And the winds starting to settle, but they were gusting over 35 miles an hour out of the northwest. Look at that, almost every station, west-northwest. That's bringing in some colder air. It's not going to be Arctic air, but it is cold. Temperatures in the single digits overnight, and then right around 10 to 15 degrees along the coastline, and winds southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour tonight. A couple of snow showers just exiting Aroostook County, but our next storm system, believe it or not, is way down here. Just a couple of rain showers off the coast of southern part of Texas into the northern part of Mexico. Doesn't look like much right now, but it will gather as it moves to the northeast into a storm system for us on Wednesday into Wednesday afternoon. So tomorrow is fine, a couple of snow showers and flurries around through the day, a lot of clouds as well, but things get much more interesting on Wednesday into Wednesday afternoon. Guys, this will be a quick moving snowstorm, but it will have some of us in the double digits for snowfall amounts. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks. The fate of Philip Scott Fournier will soon be in the hands of the judge. Fournier is accused of killing 16-year-old Joyce McLean almost 4 decades ago. In closing arguments, the defense claimed there is no physical evidence linking Fournier to the murder, but the prosecution says he admitted to the murder all those years ago, and that confession should send him to jail.
The bedrock is rocking once again. There was another small earthquake in Maine yesterday in Willimantic. According to the Geological Survey, it was a magnitude 0.16. This is the 10th earthquake in or around the Pine Tree State since the start of the new year.
After a Super Bowl loss, there's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking, and today people are really talking about the decision to bench Malcolm Butler. The defensive back says the team gave up on him, wouldn't let him play, but he could have changed the game for them. Bill Belichick isn't talking much about the call to bench Butler, but we do know Butler was sick with the flu early last week, even went to the hospital twice.
There was one Maine man in the crowd last night who had a personal connection to the Patriots and their quarterback Tom Brady. John Stewart of Bethel lost his daughter Haley to cancer last year. Haley was a huge Tom Brady fan. She even met him once. John brought the sign that says, "Our Haley is watching," with pictures of her meeting with Brady. He says originally he didn't want to leave his wife home alone after getting the invitation to go to the Super Bowl, but she made him go to represent their daughter.
This is a special moment because this was my daughter's moment, and I brought a piece of my daughter with me, and she's here to root us on. She's here to root on her Patriots, and it's been a rough year for us as a family, and so we're here to bring it home to Maine.
While Haley's team did not win last night, her doctor from the Maine Children's Cancer Program is a huge Eagles fan, and Haley's family told us they're happy for him.
Painful to admit that, though, wasn't it, for them to say that they were happy for an Eagles fan? That's all right. We'll give it to them. We got it. We've already won enough. Yeah. Not we. I mean, I'm not on the team.
You
I'm
were also
saying they've already won enough.
On Friday, you said you wouldn't be surprised.
I know. It made me nervous.
If the Eagles won.
What are you going to do? All right. So, speaking of the Super Bowl, it's time for some to pay the piper. Super Bowl bets are going to cost more than a pretty penny because the Portland mayor is going to lose his hair. Oh, yes. That story coming up.
Like, we're doing the best we can here. It'd be really helpful if you could monitor your child's use of social media at home.
How schools are trying to contain the influx of viral videos, many of which are shot in their classrooms and hallways.
Coming up tonight on 207 for Joe Riccio, when it comes to food and drink, too much is rarely enough. We'll talk to him about a life spent at the table in Maine. And need help writing wedding vows? Here's someone who does it professionally on 207.
The mayor of Bangor, Maine had to pay up today after losing a bet to the mayor of another Bangor, this one out in Pennsylvania. Council Chair Ben Sprague had made a bet with Bangor PA's Brooke Kersner. It's actually pronounced Banger out in Pennsylvania.
And if the New England Patriots lost Super Bowl 52 to the Philadelphia Eagles, then Sprague would have to send Kersner items that represent Bangor, Maine. Well, the Patriots did lose last night, in case you missed that somehow. So Sprague will send whoopie pies from Governor's, blueberry pie from Dysart's, a case of Moxie soda, and Stephen King books to his counterpart in Pennsylvania. And although there was a lot of trash talk during the game, Sprague says the two mayors now consider themselves fans.
She talked a lot of trash in the lead up to this thing, but then once the game was over, I think to her credit, she was pretty amicable, and we both are pretty pleased with how this whole bet went. It really got a lot of attention for our different communities, and that was really the whole intent all along, was just to be positive about Bangor, Maine and Bangor, Pennsylvania, and I think that's what happened.
They're also now friends, fans,
there you go.
And friends, goes hand in hand. Sure. Exactly. Well, Sprague says he learned a lot about the other Bangor and says they share a lot of similarities.
So Portland Mayor Ethan Strimling has a much heftier price to pay. His golden or grayish locks. Bye-bye to all that hair, because he promised the mayor of Portland, Pennsylvania, that he would shave his head if the Patriots won. Worst part is, Ethan Strimling isn't even a Patriots fan. He roots for the Giants.
All right, well, have you ever wondered how viral videos hijack the disciplinary process in Maine schools? There are steps also to refinancing your student loans, what you need to know before you downsize your payments.
And brace yourselves, kids. Snow totals in the double digits. Keith's snowstorm forecasts coming right up. Unfortunately, we see it all the time. Videos of fights or arguments or bullying, they go viral before schools even know what is going on in their own buildings.
It's not like the old days. Katie Ortiz shows us how schools in Maine are trying to keep up with kids and their cell phones.
And we're in that age of media where everyone wants to record it and have it out there.
Whether it's for retweets, the gram, or likes.
Students pull out their cell phones immediately and start taping the event.
Social media is drastically changing the way schools respond to incidents involving their students, even staff.
In the old days, if there was a fight in the hallway or an argument going on, there might be a group of students that gather around it, and they might be cheering the kid on or even hopefully trying to break up the fight.
A simpler time without smartphones, Snapchats, Facebook.
Well, normally you bring them into the office individually and you say, what's going on? And they tell their side of the story, the other person would tell their side of the story.
Unfortunately, now with social media, it's usually not the end of it. Morning.
Lewiston Middle School principal Jana Mates also remembers the pre-social media school day.
Interview a couple kiddos, go right to the source, get the kids together, have a conversation about what happened. And it was usually a misunderstanding and it was taken care of and we moved on.
Mates says video captured in classrooms makes for tricky situations, even with a no phone policy.
The impulsivity, the social emotional pieces that consumed their lives. And I mean, they're 12, 13, 14 years old. Like, that's their world right now, but we're trying to get their world to be like teaching and learning and concentrating on school. And so it's hard. It's way bigger of a battle than I ever anticipated.
What doesn't help that battle? When videos go viral before the school even knows about it. Take Sanford, for example, when a substitute teacher was filmed making controversial comments on immigration.
Oh, you're getting kicked out of my country.
Yeah, it's not your country. I'm part of it too.
The video gets posted out on Twitter. The next morning when I come in, there's emails in my box. Have you seen this? No, I haven't seen it. So we're moving like at 100 miles an hour trying to investigate it, knowing that, first of all, the student didn't bother to go to see a teacher or a principal or any administrator to say, hey, this is what happened in class, which would be the way you'd normally handle it, okay? Now, I'm not condoning what the substitute said, but how would we have handled it in the old days? I probably would have brought the substitute in and had a talk back and forth with the students, you know, what's going on? Now what happened was it got out of control.
In the next 24, 48 hours, it's usually blowing up. He said, she said, other people are getting involved, families are getting involved, parents, people at schools that don't even attend here. And it just becomes twice as much of an issue than it used to be.
The response from parents has also changed in the age of social media.
You know, and it's interesting that you say a phone call from a parent. We don't even get those anymore. What we get now is an email, usually, you know, we used to call them zingers, or, you know, just coming in, just nailing you and saying, I expect an answer immediately. And, you know, that's one part of it. You don't even have a chance to investigate.
School officials say parents play a bigger role in their kids' social media usage, and they need their support navigating the media waters.
I spend 50% of my day talking with students about stuff they wrote about each other on social media at 10, 11 o'clock at night or over the weekend, times where they're not here at our school, and I really feel like parents should be the ones that are taking a little bit of the ownership for that happening. But it carries over into the school day. It makes the kids not able to focus on their learning, and so it falls under our jurisdiction.
Viral videos may be posted for laughs or to prove a point. In any case,
you know, it's a violation of privacy, it's a violation of school policy, and yet, you know, students still go ahead and do it.
I mean, I think it's just got to be embarrassing for the kid in the school.
18-year-old Connor Mullen knows what it's like to be the subject of a national online conversation. He accused teachers and students of taunting him for his Make America Great Again hat back in 2016.
When my story hit, I remember a lot of my friends were like, oh yeah, you'll meet him. And I was like, that's not the point. Like, you know, I don't think you ever think about going viral until things happen.
As technology finds new ways to keep us connected and documenting our lives, will this get any easier for schools?
20 years ago, there was no Snapchat, Instagram, stuff's new. So I think it's just a learning phase, and I think hopefully we'll grow out of it. We'll learn our limits, and it will make people happy.
You know, what I wonder is, what will it be like in the next 5 years or the next 10 years?
Now, Lee and Lindsay, it's not all bad for these schools because at some points these videos and these pictures act as actual concrete evidence for them to move on with disciplinary action. But at the same time, a lot of these videos and these pictures are taken completely out of context. So it's a lot to balance for the schools, the pros and the cons. But I think more than anything, a lot of them said that a lot of the cons outweigh the pros at this point because it's just so much for them.
Well, and I think it's what Principal Mate said, that 50% of her day,
right,
you know, is spent dealing with this stuff, and you're supposed to be there to educate and to teach and to help these kids, you know, build their future. And if you're putting out fires for half your day, that's got to be exhausting.
And that's what she said, you know, you take this job because you're passionate about giving these kids an education and providing that solid foundation. But like you said, putting out those little fires here and there every single day, that takes up so many hours and takes away from what schools are there for.
Exactly.
So social media, it's, you know, it's moving way too quickly for any of us to really keep up with. So on both sides, on every side, there's a lot to think about in terms of how to use it wisely, and to use it in a positive manner that won't affect you in your day-to-day.
All right, Katie,
There's
thanks so much for that story.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so something else that's got people a little depressed, and that's the upcoming weather. Keith's going to tell us that we got some big old white stuff heading our way.
Hey, don't forget there are people that like it, but yeah, I mean, it's certainly a change after it was so mild and it was raining and our snowpack almost down to nothing in a lot of spots. Right now, temperatures falling quickly. It's in the single digits in the mountains. 20s, upper 20s, low 30s along the coastline. But look at these winds straight west and northwest, which is ushering in some colder air. So a big change in the air mass. It's not Arctic. We're not going to be brutally cold. But tomorrow will be spent mainly in the 20s for most of us, with a lot of clouds, a couple snow flurries. A few of those moving out of Aroostook County right now. Our next storm system is way down here across Texas. Looks like a couple of innocuous little rain showers right now. But that's what's amazing about computer models and what they can do advancing these storms into the future, because this low will move to the north and east, hook up with another low coming off the Rockies, and will turn into a storm system for us Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night. So tomorrow, relatively uneventful. We don't have much going on. Temperatures, again, staying in the 20s. A lot of clouds. There will be some snow showers and perhaps snow squalls, so a couple of bursts of some moderate snow possible in there, particularly in the foothills and mountains. That clears out. Tuesday night is quiet. Temperatures drop into the teens, and then we start with clouds on Wednesday before the snow moves in by midday and into the afternoon. Switching computer models because I think this one has a better handle of this storm. So here we are at 10 o'clock. Some light snow, but by the afternoon quickly ramping up. And I think it will be a problem for a lot of schools trying to get kids home on Wednesday afternoon, because at this point it is really throwing down snow, particularly over southern and central Maine, and that progresses into the mid-coast by the evening. It's a quick moving storm though. Here we are at 1 o'clock, and by the morning the storm is gone. So 6 to 10 widespread across the state. We do have a bullseye, and that would be the only area that we might have to massage up, down, depending on what we think is going to happen. I think that widespread snowfall amounts over 5 inches are a good bet. So we're just going to tweak it from there. That's usually how it goes. After that, cold on Friday. We'll watch some snow showers on Saturday. There is another storm system on Sunday, which could be a mixture of rain and snow, but it's kind of hard to say because we're trying to figure out this Wednesday one first. So it's a matter of it'll be plowable. It's a matter of, are we talking double digits? For a lot of people, it's a quick moving storm, so that's a positive. You know, it's in and out.
In and out. Very good. And lots of melting action over the last few days.
It was. We're almost down to nothing. Like I said, we'll just refresh it. The only thing is kids. We're going to watch Wednesday afternoon. I don't think kids on school buses at 3 will be a great idea.
Gotcha.
Good call. All right. Thank you, sir. So many Americans are living with the pain of paying back tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. But is refinancing the route to relief?
According to the Finance Authority of Maine, it can be a possible solution. Here are 3 steps you can take.
The cost of college is higher than ever, and so is the amount of money students and parents now owe, more than $1.4 trillion. For the average Mainer paying for their own education,
their student loan debt is right around $31,000.
Martha Johnston is the Director of Education at the Finance Authority of Maine. She says the first step is figuring out why you want to refinance. The decision depends on what your financial goals are. Saving up to buy a house, refinancing could get you a lower monthly payment.
If you take a longer term and you spread those payments out longer into the future, you will pay back more interest in the long run. So one person might say financially that's not a good choice. The person doing it might say, this is actually a good choice for me because it allows me to buy a home and therefore start building equity in that home.
Step 2, prepare. Research what type of loan and lender work for you. Do you want a fixed or variable rate? Variable rates can change with interest rates. Take a look at the APR. Sometimes that's higher than the interest rate if your loan comes with fees.
Last but not least, you want to, if it's right for you, you want to apply.
Johnston cautions there are refinancing scams out there.
You want to just be really wary of places that are making these crazy promises that seem too good to be true.
And no meaner should forget a great perk we have here in the state. Every child, every baby born a Maine resident gets $500 from the Alfond Scholarship Foundation. To find out more about that, visit our website and mobile app.
I am single-handedly costing the Alphonse a fortune with $500 for each child.
When I heard about
getting
this,
a letter
I immediately
from them, and they're like,
you.
Lee, please stop.
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, Cindy, what we got coming up tonight at 5?
Boy, the Dow has taken a dive. I know you've been watching that today. We're going to take a look at what is going on with the stock market right now and really what it means in the big picture. And losing to Philadelphia isn't all bad. At least some people in Portland got a free cheesesteak out of it. Those stories and more coming up at 5:30. We'll tell you all about that. Super fun.
Sounds good, Cindy. Thanks so much. Well, did you see this? Tom Brady's wife, Giselle, offered her congratulations to the Eagles. According to a USA Today reporter, she turned it into a teaching moment for her kids and for Patriots fans that you can't win every game. Later, she posted this picture to her Instagram with the caption in both English and Spanish, a message to Tom. We are incredibly proud of you because we are able to see you every day, all the commitment, sacrifice, and hard work that you have devoted to become the best in what you do.
Very nice. Keith's dropping some brain when we come back.
All right, today's Brain Drops is related to what Lee was talking about, trying to push back school start times. If we can bring this up, the chronotype is a scientific term for basically when somebody's inclined to sleep during a 24-hour period, taking out all social cues. So just when would you sleep if you had a free day? And what they found was, maybe not surprisingly, that it was really a real thing that in your teens up to about 20 years old, your natural time to sleep, go to sleep was later, and get up was later. And then it went back down such that you were almost the same wake-up time at 50 as you were at 10 years old, which a lot of older people will tell you start waking up earlier and earlier, right? You also need less sleep as you get older, but that's after 50. But the bottom line is there's data that suggests this has nothing to do with them wanting to stay up and talk to friends or whatever the case may be. It is actually how your body is wired at that age, then it starts going back down 20 and beyond. So it makes sense, perhaps, to adjust the actual life schedule to how that's going.
I'd like to see the comparison of coffee consumption.
Right.
Or, yeah.
That's just a way to try to artificially spike it towards social times.
Well, nothing artificial about News Center 5:30, and it starts right now.